We're diving in today, folks. We're going to be looking at something pretty cool.
Okay.
It's the Oxford Solo and Ensemble Festival.
Nice.
We got some good stuff to work with here. Information straight from the festival itself,
Uh-huh.
and also a really insightful article by Brant Schneider, who is a teacher at Oxford Middle School and deeply involved in organizing this whole thing.
Awesome.
So our mission, if you will,
Yeah.
this little deep dive that we're doing, is to figure out what this festival is all about and why it matters so much when it comes to music education.
Sounds good. Let's get into it.
Yeah, so first things first, mark your calendars, everyone. May 2nd, 2025.
All right.
That's the date for the 4th annual Oxford Solo and Ensemble Festival happening right at Oxford Middle School.
Cool.
They're sending out a pretty wide invitation. They say they're open to all sorts of folks from different disciplines under what they're calling BOJC.
BOJC.
Yeah, band, orchestra, and jazz clinic.
Okay, covering all the bases.
They even specifically say that bagpipe ensembles are welcome.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah, so it seems like a very inclusive kind of event.
Definitely.
And what's really cool is that they're welcoming musicians of all different skill levels, from total beginners to, those who've been playing for years.
That's fantastic. It makes it accessible to everyone.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what else caught my eye in the festival info? They seem really keen on getting more jazz ensembles involved.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and encouraging other larger groups to perform on their main stage, even mentioning they'll have 2 judges there. Which,
Interesting.
yeah, it shows they're dedicated to presenting all these different musical styles, not just the typical solo or small ensemble stuff.
Right, so maybe we should back up a bit. For anyone who's thinking, okay, solo and ensemble festival, is this just like your typical school band concert?
Yeah, good point.
What actually is this kind of event?
Well, think of it as a chance for students to take center stage,
Okay.
either by themselves or in small groups, just a few musicians. And they perform for these experienced musicians and educators, the adjudicators.
So they get feedback.
Exactly. It's all about getting feedback.
Cool.
Now, what's really interesting here is how different this is from playing in a big ensemble, like a full orchestra or band, where...
You're just one instrument among many.
Exactly. And your part might not stand out as much.
You're blending in?
Yeah, blending in. But in a solo and ensemble festival, the focus is on individual responsibility and developing that musical independence.
Makes sense. I mean, if you're the soloist, there's nowhere to hide.
Exactly. You own your performance.
So what happens afterwards?
So after they perform, students get written feedback from the adjudicators, often with a rating that kind of reflects how well they did, their preparation and all that.
Okay, I see.
It's a great learning experience.
Now, Brant Schneider, in his article, he really gets into the benefits for the students.
He does, yeah.
And he starts with what he calls musical growth and mastery, which sounds like it goes way beyond just, playing the right notes.
It really does. It's about diving deep into the music.
I see.
Like, if you're prepping a solo piece, you have to connect with it on a whole other level.
Oh, yeah.
You're refining your technique, maybe working on a smooth legato or a really crisp staccato.
Right.
Focusing on your tone quality so it's clear and resonant. That's super important.
Yeah.
And then there's the expressive phrasing, like how you shape the music to bring out the emotion.
Right. Like you're telling a story.
Exactly. You're telling a story with your instrument.
And that's not something you always get to focus on in a big band setting.
Yeah, it's a different kind of focus, more individual, more nuanced.
It's like you said, diving deeper.
And what Schneider points out is that all this work on individual musicianship, it doesn't just help you with your solo, it makes you a better musician overall, which benefits you when you go back to playing in those larger ensembles.
I get it. Like if a trumpet player works on their breath control for a solo, that's going to help them in the jazz band too.
Exactly. It all connects.
So another benefit Schneider talks about is ownership and independence. And that really resonates with me.
Yeah, it's powerful.
When it's just you or a small group, you can't rely on anyone else.
You're accountable.
Yeah, you have to take charge of your part completely.
And that pushes you to learn your part really well, to be confident in the music. It builds self-motivation.
And a sense of accomplishment, right?
Absolutely. You're not just part of a machine. It's your effort, your performance, your success.
And that's got to be a great feeling.
It is. It's empowering.
Now, one thing that kind of surprised me is how Schneider emphasizes improved listening and ensemble skills.
Ah, yeah.
And I thought, well, how does that work in a solo setting?
Well, even when you're playing solo, you're becoming more aware of your own sound.
I see.
Your intonation, your rhythm, you're listening critically to yourself.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, in a small ensemble, the ability to really listen to the other players is
Yeah,
key.
because you have to work together.
Yeah. Exactly. You have to blend your sound with theirs, match their articulation, balance the dynamics. It's all about collaboration.
Like a string quartet, where each player has to be super aware of what the others are doing.
Absolutely. It's a conversation between the instruments.
Now, let's be real. Getting up on stage by yourself or with just a few others, that could be a pretty nerve-wracking.
It definitely can be.
So how does that play into this whole personal confidence benefit that Schneider talks about?
Well, that's exactly where the growth happens.
Ah,
Every
that's-
time you face that challenge, you build resilience, you learn to manage your nerves, you develop your stage presence.
and you start to trust in your preparation.
Exactly. You realize that you've put in the work and you can do it.
And that confidence spills over into other areas of life too, right?
Absolutely. It's a transferable skill, that ability to handle pressure and perform under stress.
Now, one thing I thought was really cool is that Schneider highlights the creative choice aspect of these festivals,
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
because it sounds like students often get to have a say in forming their groups and even picking the music they want to play.
Yeah, it's not just about playing what the teacher assigns.
Right, they have some autonomy,
And that's so important because it lets them explore music they're actually excited about.
so they're more invested in it.
Exactly. It's not just an assignment, it's something they connect with emotionally.
And that makes all the difference.
It does. It fuels their passion.
And finally, Schneider talks about legacy and inspiration.
Yeah, he tells that great story.
He does, about a former Derby Festival student who is now a director.
It's a beautiful example of how these experiences can have a lasting impact.
And inspire others to follow in their footsteps.
Exactly. It shows that hard work and dedication can lead to amazing things.
Now, it's not just the students who benefit from these festivals, right?
Oh, no, there are definitely perks for the teachers, too.
Schneider calls out some pretty key advantages for them.
He does, yeah.
Like, for starters, he talks about targeted skill development.
Right, because when you're working with just one student or a small group, you can really zero in on specific techniques and nuances.
That you might not have time for in a full rehearsal.
Exactly. You can give them individualized attention.
So a teacher could work with a clarinet student on their airflow for a really tough passage, for example.
Yeah, exactly. It's about getting into the details.
And Schneider says that this focused work can actually lead to better student engagement overall.
It makes sense when students get that individual attention and they're really invested in a performance,
Right.
they tend to be more enthusiastic about all their musical activities.
It's like they feel more connected to the program.
And it's not just about the attention, it's about the challenge. They're pushing themselves, they're growing.
And from a teacher's perspective, getting that meaningful assessment from the adjudicators has got to be really valuable.
Oh, it is. It's like getting an outside perspective on your students and their progress.
Yeah, and it can help you see if your teaching methods are working.
Exactly. It can validate what you're doing or point out areas where you might need to adjust your approach.
It's professional development in a way.
Definitely. It's a learning experience for everyone involved.
And then Schneider talks about building community.
Ah, yes, the community aspect.
He specifically mentions the Tri-M Music Honor Society students
Yeah.
and the role they play in supporting the festival.
It's great how they get involved, they help set up, greet people, assist the judges.
They're part of the team.
Exactly. And that fosters leadership skills, teamwork, and it creates a real sense of pride in the music program.
It brings everyone together.
Yeah, it's a shared effort.
Now, for students thinking about participating in a solo and ensemble festival, Schneider has some practical tips.
Yeah, he's got some good advice.
Like, first off, he talks about repertoire choice.
Right. Choosing the right music is crucial.
And he says it's about finding that balance between picking something challenging that will help you grow,
Push your boundaries.
right, push your boundaries, but also something you can perform confidently.
You don't want to set yourself up for failure.
So it's about knowing your limits, but also pushing yourself a little bit.
Yeah, finding that sweet spot.
He also suggests regular check-ins, which basically means performing for others as part of your preparation.
Yeah, get used to performing in front of people.
So you're not totally freaked out on the day of the festival.
Exactly. It's about normalizing the performance environment.
Make it less scary.
Yeah, take the pressure off.
And then he emphasizes the importance of focusing on the details,
Ah, yes, the details. That's where the magic happens.
like the articulation, the dynamics, the phrasing, all those subtle things that can elevate your performance.
They make a huge difference. Those little nuances can really bring the music to life.
They show that you really understand the piece.
Yeah, it's about going beyond just playing the notes. It's about interpretation.
And finally, he says, celebrate growth throughout the entire process, not just the final performance.
That's such a good point because it's about the journey, not just the destination.
Recognizing the progress you've made along the way.
Yeah, acknowledging your own development no matter what rating you get at the festival.
It's about the learning and improvement.
Exactly, that's what really matters.
As we've been talking about all these benefits, the musical growth, the confidence, the independence, the collaboration,
Yeah, it's a lot.
it strikes me that these aren't just valuable for musicians.
You're right, they're life skills.
Like anyone who wants to master a skill or pursue a passion can benefit from this kind of process.
Absolutely. It's about setting goals, preparing diligently, and then putting yourself out there.
Facing the challenge.
Exactly, and learning from the experience, whether you succeed or stumble.
It's about resilience.
And growth.
So to sum it all up, it seems pretty clear that the Oxford Solo and Ensemble Festival and events like it, they're about so much more than just music.
They are, yeah.
They're about personal growth, building community, and developing skills that will serve you in all areas of life.
Couldn't agree more.
And just a reminder for anyone interested in checking this out, the 4th annual Oxford Solo and Ensemble Festival is happening on May 2nd, 2025 at Oxford Middle School.
Mark your calendars, folks.
And as we wrap up, here's something to think about. How powerful can it be when you combine focused individual effort with the supportive community? Whether it's music, sports, academics, whatever you're passionate about, what are some ways you can create those opportunities for growth in your own life?
What are you going to dive into next?
That's a great question. What are you going to dive into next?
Food for thought.
Food for thought indeed.